Good morning, I'm ready. So it's been about a month now that the English proficiency language has been in effect for truck drivers here in the United States. And the U.S. Department of Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has given an update on how the first month has gone since this has been in place here in the United States.
Trucking layoffs, new tariffs, trade wars. Is there a recession coming sooner than we think? Let's talk about what the media isn't showing you.
A Florida-based trucking company is shutting down. Carl Fulmer Logistics is laying off over 600 employees and closing operation.
Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into yet another wave of disturbing news shaking the American workforce. And this time, it's hitting the trucking industry right where it hurts. Across the country, countless truckers, hardworking men and women, are finding themselves without jobs. Social media is buzzing, families are worried, and the roads that once symbolized American freedom are now a symbol of economic uncertainty. Why is this happening? Well, there's no single reason. Instead, it's a storm of factors: the crushing effects of tariffs, the pressure of language proficiency tests, and the sudden closure of several trucking companies. What does this mean for America, for the future of logistics, for the economy? And most importantly, what does it mean for the very people who keep this country moving? We'll break it all down in today's video. But before we get into it, don't forget to show some love to all the amazing video creators who made this visual experience possible. Credit to them is in the description below.
So a couple of days ago, I did a post about a trucking company based out of Florida that was owned and operated by the same family for 71 years that unfortunately had to shut down. Well, the family has responded. You can absolutely tell the pain and the anguish in her voice as she's describing having worked there for 23 years, poured everything she had into the company, and they find themselves on the doorsteps of bankruptcy. One, she clears up what happened with the $29 million line of credit. I'm actually going to drop some game about that in a minute. But the thing that most resonated with me is the mindset that permeates through certain kinds of people and certain kinds of families. As she's describing the absolute pain and terror that they're going through as a family and as a company, look at how she ended her very first comment with hammer down. Hammer down is a universally recognized term in the trucking industry that tells everybody, despite what's happening, despite fuel prices, despite tariffs, despite a lot of the absolute mayhem that happens in the trucking industry, you still have a responsibility to hammer down.
Good morning, I'm ready. So it's been about a month now that the English proficiency language has been in effect for truck drivers here in the United States. And the U.S. Department of Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has given an update on how the first month has gone since this has been in place here in the United States. And he says that about 1,500 truck drivers have been taken out of service due to the new English mandate laws. So on July 30th, U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, who is the head of the U.S. DOT, wound up giving an update on his social media accounts stating that over 1,500 drivers have been put out of service. And he wound up going on to say, quote, "Since I took action to enforce language proficiency requirements for truckers, our state partners have put roughly 1,500 unqualified drivers out of service. That's what I call results," Duffy said. "If you can't read or speak our national language, English, we won't let your truck endanger the driving public." Now, the new requirements, if you remember, wound up taking place officially on June 25th, and now it's been in effect for a little bit over a month. And since then, it went into effect. Truck drivers now are required to prove that they can not only understand, but also speak the English language. This is during traffic stops, during inspections, or even when they're going through a weigh station. So what do you guys think? Is 1,500 a pretty good number? Are you glad to see that we're finally seeing some results? I'm just kind of curious on your thoughts and opinions. I know the last time I posted this, a lot of people are saying, well, that's great, but there's a lot of other issues like broker transparency that needs to be addressed. And I totally agree with you. But I do think that this is a step in the right direction. But I hope that this step in the right direction also starts to deal with the freight rates and broker transparency as well. Let me know what you think in the comment section. In the meantime, please be safe out there on those roads.
So I'm at work right now, but I am reading this article from Freight Waves. They're saying that layoffs are going to hit the freight-related companies across Southwest or Southeast. More than 1,800 jobs cut in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, and South Carolina. So, question is, are we doing great yet?
Now, let's unpack the crisis hitting truckers from all directions. First, the impact of tariffs. Trump's economic policy has leaned heavily on tariffs, especially on imported goods. And now, American companies are starting to feel the bite. Losses are stacking up, especially in industries that rely on logistics and freight movement. Trucking companies that once had steady contracts are suddenly without work. And guess who takes the fall first? The drivers. Secondly, there's the English proficiency hurdle. Many drivers, especially immigrants who've worked in the system for years, are now being forced to take new English language tests. A lot of them are failing, not because they're bad drivers, but because of technicalities and bureaucracy. Critics say it's another attempt to target immigrant labor under the guise of standards. Supporters argue it ensures safety and communication. But the fallout is clear: more job losses. Third, trucking company shutdowns. Several small and medium-sized logistics firms have closed their doors in the past few months. Unable to compete with rising costs and shrinking profit margins, they've had no choice but to downsize or disappear. That means hundreds, possibly thousands of truckers suddenly out of work with no roadmap to recovery. People online are reacting with anger, confusion, and concern. Some are calling out the government's role in this. Others are pointing fingers at the companies. And many are simply mourning the loss of jobs in a sector once thought untouchable. The ripple effect is real, and the road ahead, still uncertain.
Trucking layoffs, new tariffs, trade wars. Is there a recession coming sooner than we think? Let's talk about what the media isn't showing you. Thousands of truckers are being laid off. New tariffs are heating up a trade war between the U.S., China, and Europe. This is not just about truckers being laid off. That's just the first domino effect in all of this. When truckers start being laid off, the supply chain freezes. The prices go up. And then companies start to cut costs. And guess what that means? That means more layoffs. So what that means for us? That means that in the near future, prices are going to be sky high, and we're going to begin to see our shelves empty. So here's how to prepare. Cut non-essential spending. Start saving some money because things are about to get sky high and you're going to need more money. Right now, also, you can start to buy stuff in bulk. While it's not expensive, stock up on the things that you may need because we may not even be able to get no supplies at all. This is not fear-mongering. This is a reality. And if we didn't learn nothing in 2008, what we learned is that the people who prepared early, they made it through that crisis easier. Y'all, right now, are y'all prepared for a recession? A recession can hit us as early as the summer. Have y'all been following this, and are you prepared? Y'all leave in the comments and tell me y'all thoughts and add anything that I left out.
A Florida-based trucking company is shutting down. Carl Fulmer Logistics is laying off over 600 employees and closing operation. Here's what's happening. This is another major hit in what experts are calling one of the worst freight recession ever. Carol Fulmer Logistics is not alone. Many major carriers are feeling the pinch also. Heartland Express, PAM, they are struggling to keep up, bleeding slowly. If these major carriers are fighting to survive, imagine what the small companies are going through. Carol Fulmer had been around for decades, and if they can fall, others could be next. This doesn't just affect drivers, this affects dispatchers, mechanic, and office staffs, shippers and customers. I could say other carriers, they're going to be benefiting from the shutdown, from picking up temporary contracts or long-term contract. But for the most part, guys, this is a big eye-opener, and a lot of people will be affected moving forward. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts in the comment. And as always, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.
Trucker news: 1,500 drivers as of now have lost their privileges to drive semi-trucks, obviously due to the reason for the language barrier, not comprehending and understanding, communicating with state troopers. Now, it all depends on who stops you, right? I've had a few of my friends get stopped, and their communication wasn't quick, but they understood. They communicated back and forth. And then sometimes you'll get a state trooper that's really anal, you know what I'm saying, where they don't give you a chance. They feel like your language is broken, not enough. They just shut you down, out of service, and another company from your company has to pick up the truck. And another situation that's happening right now, bypassing the scale, basically blowing the scale. Obviously, every truck driver knows about the scale houses. Now, here's the thing. On the sign, on the outside, on the highway, it says wait station, right? But unfortunately, it's more than a wait station, but they don't have that up there. If they feel like stopping you for no reason to pull you in, they're going to pull you in, even though everything's up to par. Number one, you're going to waste a lot of time, obviously, due to the ELD. And then sometimes what happens is that's also based upon who's working in the scale house, right? They will not let you go until they find something. And then sometimes you get good people that if everything's up to par, they'll let you go. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, the whole concept of both situations, the drivers that are lost their privilege to drive and the scale houses, it all depends who you're going to be interacting with. And that's honest truth.
So here we are again, watching another core part of the American workforce buckle under pressure. Truckers, the unsung heroes of the supply chain, are being squeezed out by a perfect storm of political decisions, economic missteps, and systemic barriers. From tariffs making it too expensive to operate, to English tests that exclude rather than empower, to company closures that leave workers stranded, it's clear the system is cracking. The question now is, who's going to step up? Will the government fix what it's breaking? Will companies be held accountable for their choices? Or will it be the same old story, regular people paying the price for decisions made in high places? Let us know what you think in the comments. Have you or someone you know been affected by the trucking layoffs? Is the system fair, or is it broken beyond repair? Once again, big thanks to all the incredible video creators whose work was featured here. Their links are in the description. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to see what's really going on in America. Until next time, stay safe and keep asking the hard questions.